Okay, welcome again. My name is Jenna Meyer. I work here at the University of Pittsburgh, and I oversee all of the on-campus housing assignments. This evening, we will be going over the welcome letter that students would have received in their Pitt email, along with some upcoming deadlines. We will do a building overview just briefly. I will go over your meal plan options. We will discuss some resources available to you. And then, as I stated before, we'll have time at the end for a Q&A. Before we get started into our upcoming deadlines, this is a reminder that as an incoming first year student, you do have the opportunity to use the first year portal on or throughout the web browser or My Pitt Mobile. And to do this, you can download My Pitt by using this link or clicking this link here to go to the first year portal through Panther Central. And there will be another link at the end that is also used for accessibility for the housing portal as a first year student. Okay, so as an incoming first year student, Housing and Panther Central will only communicate with you through your Pitt email address. So you want to make sure that you're checking that regularly. And if you have already paid your deposit through admissions, then you may have already received an email stating your deadline for your housing application. And as of right now, we have deadlines on May 1st, May 8th, and May 15th. It all depends on when you have deposited, and you want to make sure that you complete your housing application and pay your deposit by that deadline stated in your email. Don't rely on your friend's deadline or a deadline that you might have seen online. You want to refer to your email from Panther Central with your exact deadline for you. And this is specifically for the housing application to make sure that you get your guarantee for on-campus housing. With that deadline, you'll also want to pre-submit your photo for your Panther card. So you'll get your completion email from your housing application, and in that email, there's another reminder that says, don't forget to pre-submit your photo, because by pre-submitting, that makes arrival so much easier for you, because we will either mail you your Panther card or you'll be able to pick it up at arrival whenever you get here in August. And your Panther card will have your meal plan on it. It'll be used to go in and out of your building. It'll be used for the shuttles, the city bus, literally everything. It'll even get you into the Carnegie museums for free. So you want to make sure that you're also pre-submitting your photo for your Panther card. A deadline that is universal for everyone is the June 1st deadline, and that is specifically for your roommate preferences and your living learning community request and application. So your housing application is due either May 1st, May 8th, or May 15th, and then you have until June 1st to update your preferences a million times if you really want to, because we don't even look at your housing application and preferences until June 2nd. So I will actually show you what the portal looks like to update your preferences. So whenever you complete your application, you never have to go back into your application. Instead, you will just update your preferences on the first year portal that way. Okay, so this is a grid that can be found on our website for our first year students. And I like to refer students to this whenever they come to me and ask what building they should put on their application as a preference. And some of the questions that I ask them back are you interested in having a roommate? Are you interested in having several roommates? You know, are you interested in a communal bathroom? Do you want a semi-private bath? Are you looking for a private bath? Do you need air conditioning? Do you want upper campus or lower campus? Because all of those things are important when choosing what your preferences are on your application. So a student is required to choose at least 3 preferences, and you can go up to 5. So it makes no difference if you have 3 or 5. We really try to put the student in their top 3. But if you are applying for an LLC and that LLC is in a building that's not one of your preferences, the LLC trumps your building preferences. So we'll pull you into that LLC and then your building preferences at that point don't even really matter. So this grid here is a really great overview of what we have on campus for our first year students. So if you're looking for a single, some of our buildings that have singles are Tower C, Lothrop, and Holland. Our doubles can be found in Forbes, Towers A and B, Nordenberg, and Southerland Hall. And then our suites are going to be Bruce and Southerland. So if you have roommate preferences, and depending on how many roommates you have as a preference, that will also determine where you may be placed on campus. Okay, so choosing a meal plan this early might feel a little daunting, but the great news is you do get to change your meal plan all the way up until add drop of the fall semester. So whatever you put on your application today or tomorrow, you do get assigned that whenever we assign you your housing, but whenever assignments go out, you do get to see like your bed space information and also the meal plan that was assigned to you. And you can, like I said, you can change that meal plan all the way up until a few weeks into the semester. And we give you that opportunity because you don't know what your schedule is going to look like. You don't know what you're going to be involved in. You don't know what your friends are going to want to do. So you might think that you live close to home right now and you might go home on the weekends to get some home cooked meals. So you decide to pick that weekday unlimited plan. But then when you get here, you might join a team or a club that does things on the weekends and you want to be here on the weekends. So you might upgrade to one of those unlimited plans. So, and you can change your meal plan into the spring as well. So if the fall one didn't work out, you do have the opportunity to change your spring meal plan as well, because we all know that everyone's schedules do change. So to touch on the meal plans, the unlimited means that you can use those swipes at the all you care to eat facilities, which are the Eatery and the Perch. The Eatery is on lower campus and the Perch is on upper campus. And you get unlimited swipes throughout the day. However, you can't go in like more than one time in an hour, but you could go back for breakfast, a mid-morning snack, lunch, an afternoon snack, and even late dinner. And that plus 300 or plus 150 are dining dollars. And those are dollar for dollar compensation that you can use at all of our on-campus dining facilities. So those are the restaurants at the bottom of the Union or in the Pitt, or even at some of our coffee carts around campus. And you do get a meal exchange per day on these plans. And that means that you can use one of your swipes at one of those dining facilities that aren't the all you care to eat facilities. So Chick-fil-A is in the Pitt, and if you want to use a meal exchange that day, you can go up to the Pitt and use a meal swipe and you can get one of their meal deals. So that could be a sandwich, it could be nuggets, and it could be any of the meal deals they have to offer. So you don't really have to use dining dollars that day, you could use a meal exchange. And we do give opportunity about mid-semester to add more dining dollars to your plan if you want to add them. So we'll be sending emails out probably around the end of October to add more dining dollars to your meal plan. Okay, so this is a screenshot of what the first year housing portal looks like. And I just put this here for everyone to have a visual, but I will be going through this in a little bit. But step one, like I said before, is to complete your housing application. That is the most important step, because if you don't complete that by your deadline, then you will not retain your guarantee and have on-campus housing. And then those steps in yellow, that update your preference or apply for an LLC, those come second. So you have until June 1st to update those things. Some resources that are available to you. We have our housing services website. So this is the pc.pitt.edu, and you'll click on first year student and it'll have all of our resources for you. It'll have that grid that we showed before. It will have your deadlines. It'll have links to the upcoming Zoom sessions. It'll have the videos from the last Zoom sessions. Anything that you would need is on that website. Panther Central is also a really great option for a resource. They are open 24/7. You can email, chat, or call. And if they don't have the answer for you, they will direct you to someone on my team to get the correct answer for you. And we have our upcoming Zoom sessions. So The month of May, we are rotating between 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. So if you feel as if you want to come back for another presentation, you will have to sit through my PowerPoint again, but Q&A is always different every week. So feel free to stop back any one of the weeks in May. Okay, so before we jump into Q&A, I am going to open up the housing portal to show you what the first year portal looks like. So that is this here. And I've already completed my housing application, so I'm not going to have to click this apply here button again. Instead, if I want to update any of my preferences, I'm going to click this button here. And this page pulls up all of my information that I indicated on my housing application. So you can see here that when it asked me if I was interested in 12-month housing, I said no. I'm not interested in the Resident Student Association. My LLC request is ROTC at this time, but if I wanted to change that, I would just have to indicate this here. And there's even a not interested button. And this assignment priority is specifically for students who have applied for an LLC, but also have an LLC request. I mean, applied for an LLC, but also have a roommate request. So in some years, we do not have the space to pull in roommates for LLCs, but in some years we do. So this is asking, I'm not quite sure how those red lines ended up on my screen, if you can see them, but this question is asking if by some reason we can't pull your roommate into the LLC that you were accepted into, do you want to be released from the LLC to live with your roommate, or do you want to be separated from your roommate to live in the LLC? So if you are not applying for an LLC and having a roommate request, you don't have to answer this question. You can just put not applicable. My room preferences are here, and you can see that I'm really interested in living in a double next year with only one roommate, so that's what my priorities were. But if I really had to choose a fifth, I'd probably want to live by myself. So I'm going to go ahead and put a tower single here because I still want to be on lower campus and I still really like the tower. So I'm just going to add tower C there in case I don't get a double. Your roommate matching preferences are here, so you can update these throughout the month of May as well. And then this is actually where you can add your roommate group requests. So let's say that I am a senior in high school and my friend Holly is also accepted to Pitt and we really want to live together for next year. So you want to designate one student as the leader, and that leader is going to send the invitations to the group members. So I'm going to go ahead and create my group, and you can see that I'm the leader and I'm going to invite my friend Holly. So there's Holly, I'm going to select her, and now you can see that Holly has been invited to my group. Now, all that Holly has to do, as long as she's already completed her housing application, is go into her preferences page, and where it says remove right here, it'll actually say accept or decline. And if she accepts it, then her status will then go from invited to a member. And that's how we designate a full group. There must be a leader and there must be a member. Nobody in the group can be invited to be considered a part of the group. So we will send out reminders if you have been invited, but you haven't accepted your invitation yet in the month of May. So if you haven't done that, don't worry, you'll get a reminder email. Just make sure you're checking your Pitt email. Now, let's say that Holly and I meet two other students that we want to live with, but they want to invite us into their group. We can't be a part of two groups at one time. So I'm going to have to go in and remove Holly from my group, and I'm going to have to leave my group so that I'm not a part of my group anymore. And now those two new friends can invite me to be a part of their group. And then all that I'll have to do is go in and click accept whenever they invite me. And this is also where I can update my meal plan preference if that has changed since I completed my application. So once I updated all my preferences, I'm going to click finish. And it'll say my process has been completed. And I'm going to close out of that. And since I indicated that I'm interested in an LLC, I do want to make sure that I complete the supplemental application for the LLC. So I'm going to click that apply here button, and it'll take me to my LLC application to actually click through and complete. As stated before, we do send reminder emails out. So if you indicated interest in an LLC, but you haven't completed your application, we will send an email saying, hey, don't forget, we see that you indicated interest, but you don't have a completed application. You do need to do this to be able to actually be a part of the LLC. So make sure that you are checking your email. So at this time, I'm gonna actually open it up now for Q&A. And we will start with the question, when will you be notified of where we will be staying once you've applied for housing? So applications will be coming in all throughout the month of May, all the way up until June 1st, and we don't even start assigning students until June 2nd. And we always anticipate notice of assignments going out mid-July. So we usually give you a full month to prep for arrival and things like that. So your assignments will come in July. Question, is Southerland guaranteed to students accepted to Honors College? Can a student accepted to Honors College at Southerland with a roommate who is not in honors? So I do know that the Honors College prioritizes Honors College students into the Honors LLC, but you do have to complete the Honors LLC application to actually be accepted into the LLC. They do not assume that since you're in the Honors College that you want to live in their community. So you need to make sure that you actually complete that part of the application. The second question, can they room with somebody that's not in the Honors College? That is not my decision to make. It all depends on if there's room in the LLC or not. I know in years past, we have been able to accept non-Honors College students and non-Honors LLC students into the LLC to be roommates. But we've also had years where the LLC completely fills with Honors College and non-Honors College students that do get accepted into the LLC. Question, when will move-in day be? Welcome week is already on the calendar. Do students move in before that or during that? So at this time, we are actually not sure what the arrival schedule looks like because we are waiting for the COVID Medical Response Office to approve our arrival schedule. So once we know, that will be posted on our website when arrival will be. And then once notice of assignments go out in July, your arrival day is based on what building you are moving into. So it will depend on also where you are located on campus. So the arrival schedule will get posted and then you'll find out your exact move-in day probably in July. Do you need to have a roommate request sent in before the housing application? No, so you just need to make sure your housing application is completed by your deadline, and then you do have the entire month of May to update your roommate preferences. So you just need to make sure that your roommate request is completed by June 1st. Is Southerland guaranteed to students accepted to the Honors College? No, so you, like I said before, a part of Southerland right now is scheduled to be the Honors LLC, and they do prioritize Honors College students, but you need to apply to the Honors LLC to actually be accepted into the LLC. They do not assume that since you're in the Honors College that you want to live in the community, because we have plenty of Honors College students that don't live in the Honors LLC and choose to live in an LLC that pertains to their major or interest a little bit more, like music, health science, things like that. How long after receiving the welcome letter, completing the housing application, will we receive our invitation to RoomSync? Invitations to RoomSync are actually going to be going out later this week. So stay tuned. And the great news is you're going to have tons of options for roommates because all of our other first year students are looking to join RoomSync at this time as well. So you're not behind on that. And you do have the full month of May, like I said, to make sure that you connect with somebody on RoomSync. When do you receive the welcome letter? If you're asking when do you receive the welcome letter for Pitt housing, that comes about 7 to 10 days after you pay your admissions deposit, and it is going to your Pitt email. If you deposited today, you will probably not get your email from housing until next Friday. We send out emails from housing every Friday. Question, are you allowed to take food from the cafeterias back to the dorms? I'm actually not, I'm not a dining wizard, but Amanda might be able to answer this for me.
You are not allowed to take food out of the dining facilities back to your dorms. It's a health and safety hazard. So the temperature of the food is monitored regularly, and there's no way of ensuring that food can be kept safe if you take it out of the dining halls.
I do know that like sometimes you are able to take like a piece of fruit. So there's that if you're like walking out and you're going to class and you have a banana with you.
Or a cookie.
And a cookie, yeah. Can't forget the cookie or an ice cream cone, something like that. What housing options are ADA? So if you are someone who requires ADA accommodations, the first step is connecting with our partners over in Disability Resources. You want to make sure that you're submitting your request with them because we work with them directly to make sure that you get the accommodations that you need, because all of our buildings on campus have some sort of ADA accommodation, and we will assign you to the place that you need to be based off of the building needs and offerings. So at this point, I would just put 3 to 5 preferences on your application and make sure that you're connecting with DRS because they are the ones that will communicate to us what you need in your housing accommodation. If you use your meal exchange for the day, how long do you have to wait until you are allowed to go to the eatery or the perch again? I believe it's still the same thing. Like you should wait like an hour before you should go to your next dining adventure on campus. That would actually be a really fun game, like going to all of your favorite places on campus with your unlimited plan. Do unused dining dollars transfer over to the next semester? As of right now, yes. From fall to spring, they do transfer over as long as you do not cancel your meal plan for the spring. Mackenzie asked, what, if anything, is provided by the residence halls, example, refrigerator, bed lifts, specifically Southerland? I would take a look at our website, the pc.pitt.edu, and select housing and go to the actual Southerland page, because on that site itself, it'll give you room dimensions and tell you everything that comes in your room, specifically those things that you had been discussing. And if your hall does not come with a TV, a refrigerator or microwave, you will get information in the mail about renting a micro fridge, so that if you don't want to have to buy one and bring it to campus, we do work with a third party that will deliver the micro fridge to campus for you, and it'll be in your room when you come for arrival. Is housing first come, first serve, or are all applications processed on June 2nd? Because Pitt offers rolling admissions, it would be impossible for us to do housing first come, first serve, and some of our buildings would get full within the first week. So we do all of our assignments at the same time beginning on June 2nd. So it is not first come, first serve. As stated before, if you and your roommate are in the honors college and you apply for the honors LLC and you both get accepted, then we will make sure that you're roommates, but we cannot guarantee that just because you're in the honors college that you get accepted into the LLC. They do prioritize the honors college students, but we can't guarantee that you will be in the LLC. For first year students, what days are we supposed to move in? Are there any, or is there any benefit to moving in earlier rather than later? So we do not know the arrival days right now, because last year was completely different than our regular arrival that we had in 2019. So I can't really tell you what days that you are supposed to move in, but there is really no benefit to moving in earlier than later because you're not missing out on anything, because it's orientation week and it's arrival, and whatever is offered on Monday will also be offered on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. So you're not going to miss out on anything, and you're still going to meet all the people on your floor and your RA. If you are released from your LLC to live with your roommate, are we still a part of the LLC, are required to take part of the LLC activities? So that's a question specifically for the LLC partner, which I don't oversee the LLCs. I just assign the LLCs based off of who they tell me gets accepted and where they should live. So we will have one of our partners from Residence Life here on our Zoom. I think it's May 11th that will answer LLC specific questions, but we have had students in the past be released from the LLC to live with their roommate and not take part in the LLC at all. We've also had years where if an LLC is in a building and the student wants to live on a separate floor with their roommate, then they have taken part in some of the activities in the building with the LLC. So it all just depends on the LLC, where it's located, and the flexibility that the LLC can offer. Again, if you are accepted into the Honors College, 100% you still need to apply for the Honors LLC. Our roommate requests first come, first serve. No, and that is me answering that because with hesitation, because we have never had a year where we couldn't accommodate roommate requests in a certain way. So I don't know if any of you have friends at Pitt this year that are first year students, but Towers was converted from doubles to singles, and we did lose out on a lot of opportunities to place roommates together. However, if we were not able to place roommates together, we put them as neighbors. So in any case, we do what we can to make sure that you are with your roommate in some capacity, because we understand that it's a whole new experience for you. But in a normal year, when capacity is normal, which we are expecting for next year, other than Nordemberg and Holland, which I will touch on here in a minute, we are generally able to accommodate all of the roommate requests that come in. So we have about 4,000 first year students, and only about half of them submit a roommate request. So there's that. And when I say occupancy changing in Nordemberg, so we will have no triples in Nordemberg next year. It will be all doubles. And then we will have no triples and quads in Holland. It will be all singles and doubles. And that was based off of the COVID Medical Response Office's recommendation for us based off of occupancy and square footage. We wanted to make sure that we weren't cramming students into small spaces. So those are the only two changes that we're expecting for next year. If your roommate has an earlier housing deadline, can she invite me before I have done my application? Yes. Whenever you actually go through your application, it will ask you in your application to accept or decline. You can accept it right in your application as you are applying. Nathan asked, how often are roommates pulled in an LLC or into an LLC? I can't really give you that statistic because our LLC numbers change every year. So it all depends on how many students are applying this year versus last year versus the year before. So some years we are able and some years we are not able. When does the LLC decision come out? Will there be time to change housing preferences if I'm not accepted into the LLC? No, you will not have time to update your housing preferences. If we generally send out notice of assignments, and that same week you get your welcome letter from your LLC saying you were accepted. And that's why we don't like to disclose where LLCs are located, so that you're not basing your building preferences off of an LLC. You want to assume that if you don't get an LLC, that you have 3 building preferences as a backup in case you don't get into the LLC. So if you're applying for honors, and the honors is in Southerland, but you know, what if you don't get into honors and you really didn't want to live in Southerland other than because of honors? Then I would definitely put a couple of other building preferences, because putting Southerland as a building preference is not going to give you more of an opportunity to get accepted into LLC. They're strictly basing it off of their supplemental application. If your student is gluten-free, Yes, we have eateries, or let me rephrase, we don't have a specific meal plan for students who are gluten-free. And Amanda might be able to touch on this a little bit more as well, but a lot of our places on campus to eat and within our all you care to eat facilities, we have plenty of gluten-free options and stations. And if you have specific questions, to reach out to Pitt Dining, and their information is on our website as well.
There's also the Flourish location in the eatery, which is all gluten-free. And then there are some plant to plate options available at some of the other dining locations across campus. So you will be able to find something for you to eat on a daily basis.
I was actually on campus yesterday and I stopped by the Pitt, and there's a place there called Shake Smart. And I've been working from home since last March, so this is my first opportunity to actually take advantage of one of our new places on campus. And I got like a smoothie bowl, and it was really good. Like, I was like, man, I kind of wish I was on campus so I could do this more often. But Shake Smart, 10 out of 10, and there were tons of gluten-free options there. Okay, somebody asked where the honors housing application is, and where I clicked on LLC application in the portal, as long as you select honors on your preferences for LLC, it will take you to the LLC application for honors. So it will say, welcome to the honors LLC application. So that is where you want to click. A question, has COVID changed any housing policies? This year, yes, we have had to update some of our policies regarding like visitors and things like that, but it's also created some really great new policies that we have on campus, specifically around like the cleanliness of the halls and making sure that like housekeeping is cleaning the communal bathrooms and communal spaces more frequently. So I would check our website to make sure you're looking at occupancy specifically for like rooms and buildings, things like that. But other than that, I can't really say that it has changed too much. Nathan asked, what building has the nicest gym? Residence hall, I'm actually not quite sure. But I would say that the Pitt is pretty popular for students to work out at, or the field house. So it's really popular for students to go there in the evenings and in the mornings and throughout the day to work out. And then you can grab a smoothie at Shake Smart. Someone asked, will parents be allowed to move students into the dorms? I hope so, because Arrival 2019 was so much fun and students could take their visitors in with a wristband. And then last year for COVID, they were only allowed to take in one visitor to help them move in. And we are still finalizing the details on what Arrival will look like for this year. So as soon as we know about what move-in will look like in Arrival, we will be sure to post on our website. So stay tuned for that. Will there be a curfew for residence hall buildings? There's no curfew. We assume that you are a responsible person and will go in and out of the building as you wish. And your Panther card will actually be your key to get into the building and then into your room. You'll have to actually swipe in at a welcome station that has a welcome attendant there. You'll swipe there and then you'll take the elevator or stairs up to your room, and then you'll swipe into your room. If you have questions on how to set up your Pitt email, you should contact Pitt IT or check out the Pitt IT website or call the help desk, and we can drop the link at the bottom to do that. How long after you see the welcome letter do you get the link to RoomSync? Like I stated before, the RoomSync email will actually only be coming out this week, so stay tuned. As long as you have a completed housing application, you will get a RoomSync invite. And then any day after, probably this Friday, Monday through Friday, RoomSync gets Here's the technical version. RoomSync gets your information as soon as you complete the housing application, and then it usually takes a day or two for them to send you the email saying you now have access to access RoomSync. If a student moves in early for a sport or program, is dining available? Yes, if by chance the dining halls are not open at that time, sports or programs will coordinate with Pitt Dining to make sure that your student is fed. So whether that's us catering their meals or things like that, but generally in the past, the dining halls are open at that point. If you did not choose renter's insurance on your housing application and you want to change that, for that question specifically, you will actually have to go back into your housing application to update it. We do recommend students investing in renter's insurance because we do have accidents on campus regarding like sprinklers and things like that. So you want to make sure that you are covered. Do any of the ADA rooms allow you to have a roommate? Yes, we have, like I said, ADA accessible accommodations throughout all of campus. So depending on what your accommodation is, we work specifically with DRS to make sure you get that accommodation. However, a roommate is not considered an accommodation. So you will have to apply separately to make sure that you have a roommate request. If there are any issues with your room, like a light not working, who do we contact? Once you move in, you will have the ability to actually submit service requests through My Pitt, and that's Panther Central's website. And you can submit TMAs is what we call them. And one of our housing representatives will report to your room to make sure that your issues are taken care of. Margie asked, do you have any good ideas on how to find a roommate? Highly recommend using RoomSync whenever the emails start going out to use the app. And what dorms offer triples and which offer doubles. Please refer to the grid on our website that I had used in our PowerPoint to find out what buildings have doubles and what have triples. If you are looking for a triple, your best bet next year is to be in Bruce or Southerland because a lot of our other buildings are only singles or doubles. Andrea asked if you requested gender inclusive housing, is that something that is guaranteed or is it based on assignment? Also, is Southerland the only building that has gender inclusive housing? Southerland is not the only building that has gender inclusive housing. Every student who is requesting gender inclusive housing, we don't like to assume that everyone has the same reason to need gender inclusive housing. It's kind of like a spectrum. So we will reach out to you specifically to see what your needs are. But if you are requesting gender inclusive housing, we really try to put you in something that you're most comfortable in. Will there be a regular in-person freshman orientation? I'm not sure. That is not a housing question. I would refer to the Arrival website or to reach out to, I think it's First Year Experience who oversees first year orientation. Towers will be doubles this year, Tower A and B, and then Tower C is always singles. Will there still be triple and quad rooms? No triples. Quads will be available in Southerland and Bruce Hall. All of the halls do not have air conditioning. Most of them do, but the halls that do not have air conditioning are Holland and Lothrop. I think that's it. Can you even apply for Southerland without completing the housing app or without completing the supplemental application? If you are not interested in living in the honors community, but you want to live in Southerland, we have a whole other half of the building to house non-honor students. So if you want to live in Southerland and not live in honors, feel free to put Southerland as a preference on your housing application. Move-in date will come in July. Arrival schedule will hopefully be posted before July, but when notice of assignments go out, that is when you find out your move-in date as well. And we have plenty of parents that stay overnight either before or after move-in. So there are plenty of hotels in the area to stay at. There are no single rooms in Southerland. The housing application is only available if you have actually submitted your admissions deposit and have been transferred over to the housing site. So I would wait until you receive the email to try to access the application. But if you have deposited, I would say with admissions prior to April 16th, you should have received that email to your Pitt email to access it. So there's that. What halls allow for emotional support animals? That is a conversation to have with disability resources, but we are not allowed to discriminate against students with emotional support animals. So I believe we have to accept them anywhere on campus. But if you have a roommate, the roommate must also sign a form saying that they are okay with you having the emotional support animal. I'm only going to answer a couple more questions. We cannot give a guarantee if a student applies for an LLC that they will be accepted into the LLC because the number of applications for LLCs differ every year. So I can't say if your student will get accepted into the LLC. Nordenberg is all doubles next year. Students are allowed to have TVs in their rooms. Room sync will be available towards the ends of this week. Please look out for your email or in your email for an invitation to join room sync. If you have questions on how to set up your Pitt email, please refer to Pitt IT. I will try to drop the link here. The IT help desk is open 24/7. You can submit a ticket, and you can also look at their website to see how you might, if you can find your answer there. And I will answer one more question, and that's from Mary, and that is, do parents stay for all of Welcome Week? That is a personal preference. We have students we have parents come and drop off their students and they're like, see you at Thanksgiving. And then we have other parents that want to stay there for the whole week. And in years past, not counting last year because I'm trying to erase that year from my memory. In 2019, it was really popular for parents to like hang out for the whole day and like go to lunch in Oakland and maybe take a drive to Target to pick up some cool things for their room. But it's all a preference on when you actually want to stay and how long you want to stay. Yes, I see that move-in dates or what was it, arrival dates were posted to a website for August. You will not find your actual move-in date until when assignments go out, because move-in dates and times are based on what building and floor that you live on. So I would try to hold off on booking any kind of hotel space until maybe July. And we give you plenty of time to schedule hotels and Airbnbs and things like that. So one more, I will put here again the link for the first year page. Oops. And if you have any questions, please contact Panther Central. Otherwise, we look forward to having you in August. And where was I going with this? Thank you for having me and joining me this evening. And if you need anything else, we do have at least 4 more Zoom sessions in May. So please sign up for them, and I will see you later. Have a great evening.